raise their revenue and thereby increase their income. Topic: Government policies and interventions for development in various sectors and issues arising out of their design and implementation. Q1 The Consumer Protection Bill of 2018, which was introduced in Lok Sabha on January 5, 2018, seeks to replace the existing Act of 1986 to address the emerging consumer vulnerabilities. Discuss the merits and demerits of this bill. 250 words. Down to Earth. Consumer Protection Bill 2018. The bill seeks to replace the existing Act of 1986 to address the emerging consumer vulnerabilities. Provisions. Penalty. The bill states that any manufacturer who puts out a false or misleading advertisement will be punished with imprisonment of up to 2 years and fine of up to Rs. 10 lakh. For every subsequent offense, the offender will be punished with imprisonment that may extend to 5 years and fine, which may extend to Rs. 5 million. Penalty can be imposed on the endorser, who could be a celebrity, but the provision of imprisonment is not applicable to the endorsers. The bill further states that penalty has to be determined keeping in mind the population, area affected by offense, frequency and duration of offense, vulnerability of the class of persons likely to be adversely affected, and the gross revenue generated from the sales. The bill states that no endorser will be liable to a penalty if he/she has exercised due diligence to verify the claims. Regulatory authority. The bill has a clause for the establishment of Central Consumer Protection Authority (CCPA) to regulate matters related to violation of consumer rights, unfair trade practices, and false or misleading advertisements. In case of any violation of consumer rights or unfair trade practices, the authority can inquire or investigate either as suo motu or on receipt of a complaint. Wherever necessary, they would have the power to recall goods that are unsafe or dangerous and reimburse the price to purchasers. The CCPA can discontinue any false or misleading advertisement or give orders to modify it within specific time. The bill includes the clause to have consumer mediation cell to maintain record of proceedings, list of cases, and other relevant details. The bill has a separate section on product liability with details of processes to be followed for claiming compensation under product liability action, in case the complainant is affected by a defective product. Merits. Provide time-bound redressal of their grievances. It will allow central government to regulate e-commerce and direct selling, among other important measures. It is a welcome step towards tackling misleading endorsements. www.insightsindia.com 28 www.insightsis.com. Provide for simplification of consumer disputes adjudication process for faster disposal of grievances through filing of complaints by a consumer from his place of residence, e-filing and video conferencing for hearing. The CCPA will act in a manner similar to enforcement agencies in other jurisdictions such as the Federal Trade Commission (FTC) in the U.S. This will be a landmark step in upgrading the implementation mechanism to global standards. This is the first time that powers to take action for damage caused by a product have been introduced in a consumer protection framework. Demerits. It has penalty provisions for the endorsers, and on the other it is giving them a route to get away because the clause of due diligence will act in their defense. It lags behind in tackling misleading advertisements endorsed by any celebrity. This step will act as a deterrent for manufacturers since a liability quotient has increased. Measures needed. Lessons to be learned. Several countries like Canada, Estonia have devised advertisement regulations for unhealthy foods targeted at children. Countries such as the UK, Ireland, and Belgium have specifically banned celebrity endorsement of unhealthy foods. The impact of such restrictions has been reported to be significant. Q2 Honoring constitutionalism. Privileging individual rights over innovation should be the priority for any data protection legislation. Comment. 150 words. The Hindu background. The volumes of data and content held digitally are expanding, so are the ways that businesses can access, filter, and understand this information, helping them to improve their efficiency and growth. At one end of the spectrum, there is distrust of the use of data beyond limited, specifically identified purposes. At the other end, the recognition that data is a valuable asset suggests that its more widespread and open-ended use could empower innovation and economic opportunity. Data protection needs to honor constitutionalism and individual rights. The state has to protect its people first, which is highlighted by the tenets of the Constitution, and is supposed to put the welfare of the people first. Justice Rai Krishna Committee presumes to hold both fundamental rights and innovation as competing values. This appears contrary to principles of individual liberty. In the right to privacy judgment, the judges provided one conclusion. The privacy protection that limits state intrusion and data protection laws should shield individuals rather than commercial interests or technological innovation. Technology is a means, and not the end in itself. It must exist and work within the framework of the rule of law. The right regulatory design will prevent pure market mechanisms that concentrate power and cause harm to individuals. The AP Shah Committee recommendation regarding Privacy Act proceed from a clear acknowledgement of data protection protecting individuals and not about protecting innovation, state interests for welfare objectives, or commercial interests of technologists and corporations. Current data storage and transfer will not provide adequate protection against viruses and malware, software vulnerabilities, or data getting into the wrong hands. For instance, Airtel misusing a Aadhaar linking with a mobile number. What needs to be done? Policy recommendations should take a balanced view of data-driven innovation to stimulate best practice, increase consumer awareness, and protect privacy. Concept of social engineering is needed to make private developers more accountable. www